Cool. All right. Hey, peace. What's up, y'all? If you're watching, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yours truly, Deep Prime 215. So for this video, we're going to talk about pro wrestling. However, instead of it being about a match, like me doing a prediction video or a review video like I normally do, instead I'm going to talk about a podcast. So I do listen to a number of podcasts around pro wrestling, primarily those that involve people who were either in the business at one point in the past or they're still in the business in some capacity. Just because I like hearing those perspectives, they're the most intriguing to me. Whether I agree with what they say or I don't agree with what they say, I just like listening to them, right? So in particular, I'm talking about the Keeping It 100 podcast. I personally tune in to hear Konnan and Barry Disco. But in all seriousness, they did a video, or a podcast rather. I'll link the video in the description so you can hear exactly what they had to say, Konnan in particular. They were speaking about Jay White's debut in AEW as a signee of AEW, because Jay White's been in AEW before during last year during the build up to the first Forbidden Door pay-per-view, right? But he was contracted to New Japan at the time, so he wasn't like it wasn't like an AEW thing. It was more so like New Japan and AEW working together. So anyway, his debut in AEW, he pretty much ran in and helped Juice Robinson jump Ricky Starks, right? So essentially what Konnan was saying, the gist of it, again, you can watch the video for yourself to see exactly what he said, but the gist of it was, during his debut, there was nothing to really make Jay White special, right? So for someone who doesn't know who Jay White is, if you know me, you know I'm a big Jay White fan. I've seen Jay White wrestle in person a number of times, met him a couple of times, so if you know me, you know what I'm saying, you already know what it is, so that's that. But for someone who has no clue who Jay White is, which is easily the vast majority of casual pro wrestling fans in the U.S., there was nothing there to really set him apart. It's like his appearance, there was nothing really there. Ricky Starks, it's like, what type of beef does Ricky Starks have where it would make sense for him to get jumped by Jay White and Juice Robinson? Thought about it, I'm like, Konnan's kind of right. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for him to have been, kind of just thrown into AEW the way he was, right? And I think back to, New Japan, right? So if you recall, prior to Jay White becoming the Switchblade, even not even so much him being a young lion, but prior to him becoming Switchblade, he went on excursion, right? So if you follow New Japan for Pro Wrestling, or if you're aware of them, they send a number of their homegrown talent, if you will, young lions. They go on excursions, so they go like to different countries to kind of build up some sense of character. They come back repackaged over time. Pretty much everyone has went through that who's been through that program. So when Jay White was returning from excursion, that's when this Switchblade persona was created, and I believe he made his debut as a Switchblade during Power Struggle, and he attacked Hiroshi Tanahashi, who at the time was the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. That led to a match against Tanahashi at the year's Wrestle Kingdom. He was unsuccessful in that match. However, they took time to package him. It's like, okay, he's coming back. This is the Switchblade, Jay White, boom, boom, boom. So even if you didn't really know too much about Jay White prior to him, being the Switchblade, you at least had something to kind of latch onto, something that kind of brought you into that. As where, like with AEW, they just kind of threw him in there, right? Because again, most people who are, in America, in U.S. who watch Jay White, they don't know who he is, right? Like, I can't expect, everyone to be a Jay White fan like myself, and like, the history and everything. So I thought about it. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And I was a bit surprised to see how many people were really upset with Konnan, but I understand, like, there's a number of pro wrestling fans out there who are like, for lack of a better term, are just a bit myopic in how they view things. So I kind of understand why people were upset, but I wish they weren't. So what do you guys think of what Konnan had to say about Jay White's debut in AEW? Again, even though I'm a big Jay White fan, I agree with what Konnan said. I feel like the way he was put, the way he debuted in AEW as an AEW signee, they could have did a lot better. They could have put some video packages together, or something like that. Because again, like, he's been on AEW programming before, but he wasn't signed to AEW. And when's the last time he was on AEW programming was a while ago. So it's like, you can't expect someone who watched Dynamite, like, you know, around the Forbidden Door era last year to really remember who Jay White is. You know, it's been so much time. So those are my 2 cents on what, you know, Conan had to say. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm just doing something a little bit different. I don't normally talk on podcasts and nothing like that. Not doing this for their attention. I'm just doing it because I feel like it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yours truly, DPrime215. And, you know, hopefully, I hope they do something great with Jay White. You know, like I've said before, I like him to feud with MJF. Love for him to have another match against Jon Moxley. Of course, Kenny Omega's there. So there's a lot of opportunities for Jay White. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this whole black and gold Bullet Club stuff goes down. But there it is. So till next time, peace out. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you on the next one. All right, peace.